For several years now, I've been giving you regular updates about the real estate market, including what's happening with foreclosures. Here's our update with Andrew Weitz of the law offices of Andrew Weitz. First, he told me that the banks are pretty much doing what they've always done. They're ignoring homeowners who are seeking relief.
But the bottom line is the bank is not going to pay attention to just a homeowner. They're just going to brush you off and stall you off any way they can.
But the law offices of Andrew Weitz keeps pushing to get relief for clients.
And it's there. It's just really a matter of pursuing it and asking it and overcoming the many hurdles for some reason the banks put up in getting to the promised land of getting you a new loan.
Can you get a new loan, and is it a better deal than what was?
Yes, you can. Okay, depending on who's working on your case and how efficiently they can do it, and has all the right connections. What it boils down to is we have a lot of connections with the banks. We have done so many cases, they all know us, and they're friendly with us. And they help us, ironically enough, sometimes more than we can help ourselves.
So it's a matter of connections.
Exactly, that's what it is. In fact, we have phone numbers to virtually all of the big banks of their executive offices. When your case goes to the executive offices, that bank is paying special attention to helping you and resolving whatever your problem is.
Now, can the homeowner do this themselves?
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of smart people out there. It has nothing to do with how smart you are. It's just that you'd be overwhelmed by the amount of paperwork and phone calls that you have to make.
What kind of deals are being made now? The law offices of Andrew Weitz is getting new mortgages with interest rates that range from 2% to current market rates. And there can be principal forgiveness or principal reductions in the loan amounts. Here's what he pushes for.
Anywhere from sometimes 2, not very often, but interest rate of 3% to 5%, okay, on a fixed loan. That's usually what we shoot for. And if the client cannot make the payments on whatever that is, then we propose a 40-year loan where you stretch out the period, which is not really good for you because you're not paying principal, but it lowers your payments at that time.
We're talking about a 40-year loan.
40-year loan, yeah, and maybe even more. I've heard of even more. I've never done anything more than 40, but I mean, it gets so ridiculous after a while with the years. But 40 is usually a big help to the clients in making the payments.
And that gives them time to ride out the storm,
right,
and to wait for home values to increase again.
That's right. That's right.
Sometimes the law offices of Andrew Weitz goes to court and sues the lenders.
Well, I'm not the kind of lawyer that ever threatens legal action. When it's the right time to take legal action, I just take the legal action. I don't make threats. Okay? I just do it. Okay?
Now, what kind of legal action are you talking about?
Well, it could be things that the bank has done that were not pursuant to RESPA and other statutes.
That means they violated some laws?
They have a lot of regulations, and it's a very difficult job being in the mortgage business because of all this regulation and paperwork you have to comply with, and oftentimes they miss it. And that's where you might have litigation. It might be for a fraud, is typically the most common among the lawsuits I'm filing these days.
So you're filing lawsuits alleging fraud against the banks in order to get the banks to give your clients a refi?
Well, ultimately, that litigation oftentimes resolves with a new loan.
Okay. What type of fraud are you finding?
Well, fraud, for instance, in these option arm loans are the classic fraud where people were, lured into the loans by the low payments, but they didn't realize that those low payments are not going to be there forever, and so forth. And they misrepresented, for example, on that aspect of the loan.
Andrew Weitz told me that the big problem is with option arm loans.
If you have an option arm mortgage, you have been defrauded in one way or another. I'm not going to go into the details, but there's 5 or 6 different ways they did that they did not represent what the loan really was and lure these people in so they could generate commissions. And more importantly, then they take all these loans and they package them in a little handy investment package and they get money on that end. Okay.
So consumers were misled by these option arm loans?
Yes, they were. Yes, they were, and that's the center of a lot of our litigation, and we've succeeded on some, haven't on others, but we keep pounding away at it.
Andrew Weitz says customer service is important for his business.
The business aspect is you have customers that are in a desperate situation. And whatever it is you're doing, I owe it to them to keep them up to date, even if it's just, and even if it's nothing, just to call and say hi and let them know what the status is at that particular time.
So we're talking about customer service.
Exactly. That's what we focus on as customer service, because our mission is to save houses. And we do anything and everything we can in a business way and in a legal way.
Sometimes Andrew Weitz advises clients not to fight, but to sell.
We'll recommend that they sell the house, especially if they have equity in it. Just get out of it, take your money, and move on. It's over with this house. And it's hard for people with their home that they've been in for decades to deal with that. But my job as a lawyer to give you the right advice. And sometimes the right advice is to sell a house.
The law offices of Andrew Weitz is a full-service law firm. They handle other legal matters as well, for example, DUI cases.
Well, the first order of business in a DUI case is to protect the license, the driver's license of the client. The bottom line is I want to take the stress away from the whole DUI process. Let me deal with the stress.
The law offices of Andrew Weitz. Call for a free consultation, 818-274-1112. Again, 818-274-1112. Call for a free consultation if you're facing foreclosure, or you have a criminal matter, or a DUI charge. 818-274-1112.